Is it me, or has the Brotherhood stopped engaging?
Nice work with the assassination attempt. If my troops were half as dedicated as you, we'd win the war in a week. I've been here since the first push into Vegas. Back in the day, this camp was the hotspot for conflicts with the Legion, Raider tribes, you name it. These days, I spend most of my time trying to beat a little discipline into the soldiers under my command. I've gotten soft with no action. Mostly drill the troops, try to keep the discipline up and combat readiness high. It's not the easiest job in the world. Soldiers without a mission get bored very easily. Still, with the Legion just across the river, we have to be ready. Disappointed. We call them the misfits for a reason. They're undisciplined, lazy, and they have absolutely no esprit de corps. The squad leader's got some promise, kid named Mags. But as for the rest, I don't see much hope. I'm going to make them shape up if it kills me, though. Or them, for that matter. You're welcome to try. Hell, maybe they'll listen to somebody they don't see as an authority figure. Man, it's my life. I joined up when I was 16. I don't know how to do anything else. Yeah, well, I didn't want to get promoted out of the field. I didn't join up to drive a desk.
Hoover Dam. Just thinking about it makes me nervous.
Hattie. To me? I'll tell you what I think this squad needs. A little more basic human niceness. Folks just don't talk to other folks. And everybody's always cross with each other. That'd be swell. Only if they knew the idea came from me, they probably wouldn't take you serious no more. So maybe you ought to think about it first. And I sure hope you're more convincing than I am, or they ain't gonna listen. Okay. They're mostly pretty nice. Pойндекстера showed me how to make fireworks. Razz kind of scares me sometimes, but I don't mind. He's had a hard life. They're mostly pretty nice. Pойндекстера showed me how to make fireworks. Razz kind of scares me sometimes, but I don't mind. He's had a hard life. Well, I was born on a farm out in California. Weren't much. Me, Ma, and Pa, my 2 sisters, and about 40 acres of corn and Brahmin. Didn't ever have no problems, really, except for some lean years. Then I joined up and got shipped out here to New Vegas. Oh, it's a fine place. The lake is real pretty, and we don't get bothered much by them Legion fellers. Well, as it turns out, we had a string of bad harvests a few years back. Pa said he couldn't afford to feed but 3 youngins or we'd starve. As the biggest one, it was my job to go join the army so's my sisters could eat, and so's we wouldn't all be killed by raiders, and Jesus would love us. It's all right, I guess. I don't like all the fighting we gotta do, though. I ain't scared. I just don't like hurting folks is all. Ma always used to tell me, boy, you're the biggest and the strongest, so you mind yourself. Every day she told me that. Guess I done took it to heart.
Is it me or is the... I'm assuming you aren't associated with the Army or the Rangers. What can I do for you? In a strictly official capacity, no. However, as I am by far the most intelligent and resourceful figure on this base, I feel it's safe to say the soldiers here look up to me. I suppose if you must stick with your narrow, parochial view of in charge, then yes, it's a no. Are we done? To what purpose? It's highly unlikely you'd understand anything I'd say. Suffice to say, I'm a certified genius, and when I'm discharged from this pit of testosterone and failure, I'll have all the money I could ever need. It's a simple idea. The Army offers fiscal security and generous benefits at the cost of substantial personal risk, if you're on the front line. If you perform too poorly, they'll scrub you out. Perform too well, and you get sent to the front lines. All I have to do is ride that mediocrity gradient to a cushy, do-nothing job miles away from the war. You're trying to appeal to my ego. I must admit it's an effective tactic. All right, I'll help. But only because I want to see if it's even possible.
Oh my God, are you the...
Radio says you stopped the president's assassin. Not much to tell, really. I grew up in New Reno, joined up, took my shot at being a ranger, didn't make it, so I'm stuck with this crew of jokers. Gee, I don't know. Maybe because I'm saddled with the worst damn unit in the NCR Army. Think that might have something to do with it? Yeah. I mean, no. They're okay people, but they don't care, you know? They don't have any ambition, no drive. They're slacking off, and that reflects badly on me. You really think so? Hell, I guess it's worth a shot. Easy. This is where they send all the fuck-ups and people they don't want. But hey, It's not like I'm bitter or anything. I guess I wanted to make something of myself, you know? Be the best of the best. I wanted to be a ranger, but guess this is as close as I get. Sure, see you around. Oh my God. Are you the one who saved President Kimball?
We won't go quiet. Yo. Shit, man, it was this or the Fiends. And Fiends don't last too long in the NCR. At least this way, the badasses with the top shelf guns are on my side. Ain't much to tell. Grew up out west, in the Boneyard. Heard of it? Yeah, not many people have. Wasn't really a good place for kids, you know? I joined up to get out. My family's still back there. What do you want to know? Whole place used to be some kind of rich bastard resort back before the war. Now the Rangers use the old resort and we grunts get to live in tents. Fucking typical. We don't talk too much, mostly. Pойндекster's a smart-ass prick. O'Hanrahan's a big pussy, ain't good for shit in a fight. And Mags? Well, Mags is cut out for something other than soldiering, you dig? Shit, maybe you're right. Guess I ought to give him a shot. Right, Legion can count on that. Smartest move they ever made, yes, me. Hattie. Boy, the squad sure is working together a lot better now. I think we're gonna be A-okay.
Well, their test scores are only marginally improved, but I'm here. After what you did getting my misfits whipped into shape, yeah, I could spare a couple boys for Bitter-Springs. I'll issue the dispatch orders.
Hello?
I really have more important things to do. Sorry.
Hello.
Back west, you don't see too many of these. Lakes, I mean. Natural or man-made. Any kind, really. We neglected the dams or pumped all the water out a long time ago. Owens, Isabella, the San Luis. Drained the aquifers of everything they had. Just a lot of mud and dust now. It's a different feeling watching the sun come up over the water. Takes some getting used to. But if you're here long enough, it starts to seem normal. That's what a ranger's life is now, looking east. You must be the courier folks have been talking about. Word on the radio is that someone wronged you back in Good Springs. The Mojave has a way of burning decent people up. But it sounds like you've done right by the NCR. It's appreciated. Now what can I do for you? Mojave Outpost sent word through the stations. The Rangers coming up from Baja moved through Dayglow a week ago. Some of the patrol rangers have reported that Oliver's power armor heavy troopers are starting to reinforce the front lines. Wish they got here a bit earlier, but that's the Senate for you. The Baja Rangers can do more advanced night scouting and sharpshooting to assist the troopers. Ranger combat helmets are old pre-war gear. They have built-in low-light optics. Makes a big difference. They have the best equipment the NCR can get its hands on. Power armor salvaged from our war with the Brotherhood. Techs strip out the joint servos so you don't need special training to wear it. It feels like you're carrying a Brahmin on your back, but it can take a heck of a lot of punishment. Folks around here call me the Chief, but handling's just fine. The Rangers run themselves pretty well, but I try to lend a hand. Mostly administrative work, helping coordinate intel on the radio. That and keeping an eye on the fires growing across the water. It's a simple system when it works. Patrol Rangers radio intel to ranger stations. Comm Rangers send the intel up the station chain until it reaches Camp Gulf. Then I or one of the other Rangers on duty organize the data, evaluate it, and send information to camps or troopers in the field. Comm Rangers might have an incomplete picture of the situation. There's a lot going on out there. Intel needs to be coordinated through Gulf so we can verify and advise appropriately. Troopers have enough to deal with. We don't want them questioning their intel. The best of the best, worst of the worst. He came out of NCR, one of the followers of the apocalypse. Like a lot of the followers, he went out in the wilderness with a partner to try to help those who needed helping. Not much different from how the Rangers used to be, except with books and medicine instead of guns. Out to the Grand Canyon, he met a missionary from Utah, a man by the name of Joshua Graham. Graham helped translate for the followers and the tribes. All three of them got nabbed by the Blackfoots down there, back when they were still at war with every other tribe in the Southwest. Somewhere along the way, he realized he needed to educate the Blackfoots or they were going to get wiped out with the rest of the tribe. Showed them how to use guns, how to make explosives. Once he taught the Blackfoots a thing or two, they needed him. And he no longer needed the followers, NCR, or anyone else. He decided he could remake the tribes of the Southwest whether they wanted it or not. He became Caesar, and Joshua Graham became his legate, his right hand. And that's where Graham stayed until Hoover Dam. Losing the dam was the worst defeat the Legion ever suffered. Graham had been with Caesar since the beginning, but he had to set an example. The Praetorians covered Graham in pitch, lit him on fire, and down into the Grand Canyon he went. It's not that clear-cut. You have to understand Graham was the toughest son of a gun anyone around these parts had ever seen. Before Hoover, we had 5 kill reports on Graham from Rangers and 1st Recon sharpshooters who tried to take him out. Some folks think he's still alive. Call him the Burned Man. Yes and no. The Blackfoots don't exist anymore. Just like any other tribe that gets swallowed by the Legion. Caesar takes the tribal out of the tribe. Scrapes and burns off tattoos, breaks up families, forces mixed breeding so all the old loyalties die away. The only tribe in the Legion is the Legion. Caesar is the chief, father, and god, all rolled into one. Word is that the Legion's old-timers have shown up. Caesar's veterans from the Red Oaky Centuria and what was the Painted Rock tribe. They're the best of the best and the baddest of the bad. Short of a centurion or praetorian, they don't come any tougher. You come across a pack of them, weigh your options carefully. Take a regular legionary and age him 10 years. Whatever they lose to age, they make up for with experience. Life expectancy isn't long in the Legion. You live 10 years in Caesar's army, you're a force to be reckoned with. There's no real equivalent to them in the NCR. Centurions are battle-born, elite officers who earn their rank with blood and sweat. They wear special outfits, too, pieced together from the armor of all their defeated enemies. Good commanders, tough opponents. Caesar's elite guard. They travel with him wherever he goes. A bit of insurance in case any of his guests get funny ideas. They aren't the toughest legionaries, but they're the most devoted to Caesar. They believe in everything the Legion stands for. I could tell you a lot if you had the time. But at my age, I'm not sure which of us would get tired first. What do you want to know? Suppose it depends on what you think's good. Most folks want to hear about Hoover Dam and Boulder City, but it's a long story. If you want some tall tales about hunting down slavers or busting up gangs, talk to one of the younger rangers. It's kind of a long one, but all right. About 25 years ago, a group of NCR settlers pushed way south into Baja. I guess it doesn't seem so far now if you look at a map, but back then they were out of ways. They built this little shanty town around a well in the middle of nowhere. Called it Rattletail. Word got back to one of our stations that raiders had been attacking the place. I went out with 6 rangers. We must have been on the trail for a week before we got to Rattletail. We lost one woman to night stalkers and another almost died of dehydration. When we reached the place, it's 6 shacks set up around an old well. There's over 24 bodies lying in the dunes way outside of town and 5 men with .308 rifles crouched behind sandbags. And these bodies, these people out in the sand, they aren't raiders, aren't even heavily armed. They're just people who were trying to get to the only well in 50 miles. I didn't have to talk to the men to see that they did not care one bit. They had planted an NCR flag over the well, and they would not budge until every last one of them was laid out dead and cold. So I walked up and told them there was a group of raiders coming. 100 strong. I made up some cockamamie name for them and everything. The men looked at each other, looked at us, and asked me what we were going to do about it. I told them we would take them back into NCR territory because we'd already lost 10 rangers on the way out. 10 rangers, 5 men with .308 rifles. Well, that was enough for them. They packed up what they could and we took them back north. Last I heard, they settled somewhere in Anza Borrego. Raised bighorners. Had some tough times, but it worked out okay for them. So there you go. That's my one bit of good. In big battles, Caesar deploys his legionaries in waves. Recruits up front, prime soldiers behind the recruits, old guard bringing up the rear. Opponents wear themselves out dealing with the first 2 waves, if they survived that long. When the veterans step up, there's not much fight left. Caesar can adapt, though, and when required, he can run any mix of legionaries as skirmishers and still retain order in the ranks. Joshua Graham, Caesar's old legate, he wasn't so flexible. When the Legion attacked Hoover Dam, General Oliver ordered his troopers back to the middle ground just after first contact. Graham pushed all of the legionaries onto the dam, filling the east side with recruits up front and veterans in the back, by the book. But once they were in, they were stuck there. Oliver's troopers were entrenched and wouldn't give a foot. That's when we ordered the Rangers and the 1st Recon sharpshooters to start picking off veteran Legion officers from a high ridge west of the dam. That only lasted about a minute before Graham ordered the back ranks to push through to the front and rush the ridge. Caused total chaos among the younger legionaries. Oliver's troopers fell back to the side walkways and stayed out of the veterans' way. By the time the veterans got to the ridge, we were already in Boulder City. They followed us down there, but we were out before they realized what was happening. We had packed the old city with C4 and dynamite. Crude, but it did the job. Those who didn't die in the blast were in no position to mount a defense. The ones left on the dam didn't know what to do. The troopers routed them. Graham pulled the remaining legionaries back, but the battle was over. He went south, back to the Grand Canyon, back to Caesar. And that was the last we saw or heard from Joshua Graham. Adios.
Evening.
Patrolling the Mojave almost makes you wish for nuclear. I heard about how you saved the president's life. It's a good thing. I can spare a few moments. Make it quick. It's no picnic, I'll tell you that much. My troops are out here every day dying for the NCR, but they've left us out to dry. We have no men or supplies, and we're stretched too thin trying to guard the entire river. If the brass back home could get their heads out of their asses long enough to send support, we could turn this all around. Not good. We still haven't gotten any support from the rest of the NCR, and the Legion is kicking our ass right now. Sorry, I'm not in the habit of letting random civilians dictate my troop deployment schedule. I've got the Legion at Nelson breathing down my neck and not enough men or supplies to get this camp into fighting shape so we can strike back. I need someone to talk to a few of the officers and help them resolve some of the problems around here. If I can get this place in order, then I can focus our efforts on taking back Nelson from the Legion. And the more that gets done around here, the more resources I'll be able to put into assaulting Nelson. Good. Let's not waste time then. Our biggest problems right now are supplies and troops, and the Legion is draining us both. Quartermaster Meyes has been complaining to me non-stop about the lack of supplies. But unfortunately, we aren't getting a resupply anytime soon. I want you to speak with him and see if there's anything you can do for him.
If it isn't the guy that saved President... I don't have any supplies to spare, but I... Pleasure doing business with you. Me? Well, I've been doing this shit for far too long and have been in too many battles to remember. Still, this has got to be one of the worst situations I've been in. Not too much I can do about it, but do my job and do it right. Not good. If we don't get more supplies, we're gonna have to start using dirt for food and sticks and rocks for weapons. Hey, how'd you like to do something for me? I want you to collect NCR dog tags from our fallen troopers. That way I can keep track of who's gone and how to reallocate our supplies. It's easy. Just bring back any NCR dog tags you find, and I'll try to make it worth your while. If you're looking for supplies, but something tells me you're not here. Hey, you've been a big help. I wanted to give you... You're welcome. I still don't have any... Things are still pretty damn rough, but we're keeping it together. So, the Major has you running errands for him. Well, we're short on personnel as well as supplies, so we'll take all the help we can get. Bad. I've been doing this a long time, and I haven't been in many places that were worse than this. We've been out here on the front lines for a long time without any reinforcements or resupplies. That's what I need your help for. I sent some troops out to find more supplies, but they never returned. I need you to track them down and help them bring back the supplies. I sent them to Helios 1 to see if they had any supplies they could spare. They gotta be somewhere between here and there. I'd try searching the main road or checking with the men at Helios 1 to see if they know anything. The Major let me send out some troops to gather supplies, but unfortunately they never returned. I'm guessing they ran into some trouble on the way. You can help by finding the troops and assisting them in bringing back any supplies they found. Thanks. Watch your back out there. Never know when those Legion bastards might show up.
Hello?
Hey, you're not one of the troopers. Got a second? I have work I need done, and nobody here at the camp has the time or inclination to help me out. I handle communications for Camp Forlorn Hope, compiling reports I've received from the rangers at Camp Gulf as well as the brass at McCarran. Unofficially, I'm also in charge of radio security. No one else seems to take it as seriously as I do. I have the delightful task of tabulating stockpiles, kill ratios, mission success rates, radiation deaths, and other truly fascinating numbers. I've come across numerous inconsistencies between our numbers and our reports, especially with regards to intercepting hostiles. I'm wondering if our radio security codes have been compromised. I need someone to deliver security code upgrades to each of the ranger stations. The security codes are unique to the radios at each ranger station. They're useless anywhere else. Less than a third of reported enemy sightings are getting intercepted. Either our intel is faulty, or our enemies are one step ahead of us. I've been trying to get someone to authorize this update, or at the least get field clearance to leave the camp and do this myself. But nobody takes me seriously. They just think I'm an incompetent desk jockey trying to glamorize the importance of my job. This holotape contains the updated security codes for the ranger stations. Show it to the comm officers there. Once the new codes are in use, anyone still using the old codes will just hear static if they're listening in on our frequencies.
Nice job out there. Aren't you the one that saved President? You kidding me, man? How are things? They're all fucked up, that's how things are. Everyone is either starving or dying out here. Left out to dry by the rest of the NCR. Fuck this place. I'd rather be anywhere else but here. My problem is we're all going to die. We're out of food, we're out of men, and we're out of time. The Legion is right outside waiting to kill us all. Today, tomorrow, it doesn't matter. We're all going to die here. So why don't you just leave me alone? Dam.
Yeah?
Just thinking about it. What is it?
Howdy, folks. This is Mr. New Vegas, and I have a good feeling about all of you listening. Whoops, better put on...
Wow, if it isn't the man... The Legion has been hitting us pretty hard lately. Lots of casualties, not many people I can save. What would you like to know? I used to be a doctor back in California, but a few years back I got suckered into doing military work because it was my patriotic duty. Back then, I, like many idealistic men before me, thought it was a great idea and was excited about making the world a better place with the NCR. Now, I just want to get back home. I've had enough fighting and fixing up soldiers just to send them right back out to die to last a lifetime. Men have waged war on each other for countless centuries. Now is no different. People fight and die for what they believe in. I'm just here to patch them up so they can go on their merry way. Do no harm in all that. I'm doing the best I can considering the poor situation I find myself in. There's barely enough equipment or medicine to handle the number of injuries we have. To make things worse, I think someone might be stealing my supplies. The simple fact that I no longer have as many supplies as I should. I've been careful with them, and I should have more than what remains. Unfortunately, I don't have time to go searching for the missing supplies since I have my hands full with injured soldiers. I store a variety of drugs here, but it looks like my supply of Hydra is diminishing rather quickly. Excessive use causes dilated eyes and increased heart rate and blood pressure, massive sweating, you know, the usual. I remember coming in one morning and noticing my supplies were lower than they should have been. I thought it might have been a mistake, but another morning I noticed the same thing. The camp is pretty dead at night, especially at 0200 hours when the guard shift changes. That'd be a good place to start looking. Locked in a cabinet here in the medical tent. I'm around most of the time, but I can't keep a constant watch on them. That would definitely be appreciated. You might want to ask around, and keep an eye out for anything suspicious. Unless it's urgent, you're going to have to wait. I've got a lot to do. I've got a lot to do. Make it... Quite a bit, actually. I was stationed there nearby during the first Battle of Hoover Dam 4 years ago. I saw a lot of what happened firsthand. The Legion attacked in full force. Chief Hanlon had the troopers fall back, pulling the enemy in before entrenching into secure positions. The Legion got bogged down, and Rangers and 1st Recon sharpshooters started taking out the Legion officers. They sent their best men to stop the Rangers and 1st Recon, but the Rangers pulled them into a trap at Boulder City and blew them all to hell. After that, the Legion's forces were in disarray and tried to retreat. However, our forces advanced rapidly and routed them, and that was that. You have no idea. It was a fierce battle. Lots of people died. Anyone with medical training had their hands full for weeks after the battle was finally over. During that time, I saw quite a few things I wouldn't mind forgetting about. Okay, what's on your mind? My take? I try not to think about it. I got enough on my hands here.